Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mastication Station. It's me, Sade, and today I'm having udon noodles and some pork and shrimp dumplings. I've also got some cucumber here. And I'm starving. Ponzu sauce, green onions, cilantro. That's deadly sneezing. And I'm eating my hair. I am starving. Let's try dumpling. Of course, I put these in the air fryer. So good. Just my chair. Oh, I also have a Bing Crisp. Of course it's crisp, but it's crisp. This is the apple and cherry juice. Delicious. It's really good. Let's see if I can twirl these. Kind of. Get some broth. The broth is so good. So, today I wanted to talk about first crushes. Now, a lot of people talk about like their first crushes like in elementary school. So when they're classmates or something like that. Mine was a little different. Let's grab this bowl real quick. So, my first crush, I was my first crush. I was in the either 4th or 5th grade. He was not one of my classmates. Okay, first, you gotta get perspective as to how big my school was. This was when I lived in a very, very itty-bitty town. The school, elementary, junior high, and high school, were all in one building. All of the lockers were literally, it was just one hallway of lockers for elementary, junior high, high school. That's how small this school was. So, I want to say 4th grade. I'm still not entirely sure if it was 4th or 5th. I think there was maybe 20 kids in my class. So, super small school. And my first crush, I am not going to use his real name. We'll call him Charles. Charles was either a junior or senior in high school. Like I said, I was in 4th, 5th grade. And he was just so handsome. He was a football player, and I just had the biggest crush on him. Now, note, I also was like a big boy band like freak. I loved the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And so, yeah. In my class, one of my friends, her name, I will call her Jacqueline. Her crush was another one of the high school boys. His name, we will call him Jim. And she had the biggest crush on Jim. And I had the biggest crush on Charles. Like, fangirl crushes. It was so embarrassing. But, whatever. I don't remember if it was Valentine's Day or Christmas. But I remember me and her made each of them, like, our own cards with like stickers and stuff all over them. And because, like I said, all the lockers were in one hallway, we could tell which locker was theirs. We knew which lockers were theirs, and we like slipped them in the lockers. Now that I think about it, we sounded kind of creepy, but we're kids. Kids are dumb, like I've said before. And I remember that, because like I said, I'm the youngest of 3 girls, not 2. And my oldest sister was in high school, and she was actually friends with them. And I remember it was during the summer, and Charles, I don't know if it was his uncle's or his dad's, but he had on that day one of their motorcycles, and I remember it was blue and silver, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember we were out in our front yard. We had this like a pear tree that kind of grew over the top of our house, so I had a habit of, I would climb up the pear tree to get onto the roof of the house. I remember I was sitting on the roof of the house and he drives up on this motorcycle, and I am freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, he's on a motorcycle. Oh my god, he's so cool. Oh my god, he's so cute. And I climbed off the tree, and my sisters called me over there. And of course, I'm like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. So I like slowly creep over there, and I was like, yeah. He's like, do you want to go for a ride on my motorcycle? I about passed out. I was like, oh my god. And that, I remember he took, it's like I said, it's a really small town. We literally were gone maybe 15 minutes. We just like did like a loop around town, and he brought me back. That is the only time that I've ever been on a motorcycle. I lied. No, it's not. But the other time I don't really count because I was drunk. And I was riding on the back of a motorcycle. So I don't think that really counts because I don't remember too much about it. So I don't think that one counts. So my first time on a motorcycle was riding on the back of his, which was like the highlight of my summer. I told everybody that would freaking listen. Dork. Now, like I said, this was 4th, 5th grade. So I was between the age of like, 8 and 10? Something like that? I don't know. And fast forward about 15 years. I hit my tooth. So, fast forward 15 years. I'm in my 20s, right? Remember, I was at the store. And I happened to be talking to, I think I was texting my oldest sister on Messenger, if I'm not mistaken. I'm talking to her and I'm telling her where I'm at. And she's like, really? I think she asked me to like pick her up something or something, I don't know. And she's like, oh really? She's like, well, which store? I was like, the one on this street. She's like, oh really? I'm like, oh really, what? She's like, Charles is there. What? She's like, yeah, Charles is there right now. He like put it on his Facebook or something like that. He had kids, of course, at this time. And like he was out shopping with them or whatever. She's like, he just posted that he's there shopping with his kids. I was like, that's not this store though. She's like, yeah, it's that store. I was like, shit. I was like, do me a favor. Tell me where exactly in the store he is. She's like, what? I was like, just tell me where. She's like, why? I'm like, because I'm going to try to avoid him at all cost. I shit you not. It's like I regressed back to the 4th, 5th grade. As soon as she told me he was there, complete regression. And I'm just like freaking out. And I hid in like some clothing like area for like 20 minutes. Until I was like, okay, the coast should be clear. And then I just kind of like snuck around, hurry up, paid for my shit, and I left. Of course, I don't tell my sister what I'm doing because she's a dick. And she would have like messaged him or called him and told him, like, ha, my sister's hiding from you, blah, blah, blah. So I called her after I left and I told her, I was like, okay, I just got out of there. She was like, what? I was like, I hid in the clothing. And I hid there for about 20 minutes until I figured he was probably already gone. And then I snuck out. You know, I went and paid for my stuff and I snuck out the store. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, no. She's like, why? I said, I have no fucking idea why I did that. I was like, I don't know. I just did it. And we live in the same town. I believe he still lives in this town. And I've lived here now for over 5 years, and I have still yet to, like, run into him. Thank God, fingers crossed, that I never have to. Because, I mean, I wouldn't tell him what happened about me hiding from him. But as soon as I would see him, I would be like, I'm so fucking stupid. And I would feel even more embarrassed. I have no idea why I did that. I was a grown-ass woman at that point. And I was still like, fuck, it's Charles, I gotta hide. Yeah, so my first crush affected me until my that was my early 20s. Is that not like the saddest thing? So sad. Yeah. That's probably like one of the most embarrassing situations I ever put myself in. Like, that's so sad. So if y'all have any embarrassing like crush stories, please tell me, so that way I don't feel, like I'm alone in my stupidity. That was very embarrassing. Oh. I don't know if these are like, son of a bitch, like little fish cakes or something in here. They're so good. Yeah. So that was my first crush story. Sad, sad first crush story. Yeah, the that town that I went to school with him in, super duper duper small. And it's sad because my Mima still lives in this town, my grandmother on my mom's side. And when we lived there when I was young, me and my cousin, who grew up together, we were really close. We loved rollerblading. Like, we would rollerblade everywhere around that town. But our favorite thing to do was the main street in that town was so old, it was still made of brick. Like, to a certain point, it was nothing but brick. And it basically sloped down into, it went straight directly to the school. And I think that's one of the most memorable things about that town, is that it's one of the few towns here in Texas that probably their main street is still brick. A few small towns around here, like their main street, their downtown, I guess what it would be considered, is still brick. Like I think Brownfield, their downtown is still made of brick. So that's pretty cool. But it's really sad because in that small town that I grew up in, it's called Amherst. Down that main street, it's the only, I think, building that is still in use is the bank. Like on either side of Main Street, it's still the original like buildings. And I remember one of them, I think it used to be like a candy shop or like an ice cream shop. And I think me and my family had been in there one time when I was super duper young before it shut down. Like I've always wanted like some of those old-fashioned like ice cream sundae glasses, because I remember seeing them in like a cupboard and like a shelf display in that restaurant, and I thought it was so cool. That's what's kind of sad though, is that a lot of these old buildings, I love old buildings. Like if I was stupid rich, I would love to get an old building and completely restore it. Not like crazy modernize it, but try to restore what you could. Because I love old buildings. I love old like colonial and Victorian and Gothic style houses. I love those. When I lived up north, that was one of my favorite things. I lived in Virginia for a while. And all of those old houses, I loved them. They were so pretty. I think I got all the udon noodles out. But I remember growing up in Amherst, this is not a great thing to do, but preteen years, me and my cousin and some of our friends, some of the old buildings there that were just abandoned, we used to go in them all the time. And I remember there was one that was a assistant living place, and it still had the old wheelchairs in the hallways. And we were fearless. Like, we didn't think back then about, it could be haunted or whatever. We used to sneak in them and race down the hallways in the old wheelchairs. I guess that's why I wouldn't be afraid of, like, staying at, like, a haunted hotel or something like that, because we used to do that all the time. In those small towns, there was always an abandoned building somewhere. Nobody ever went and watched it. There was no security systems or nothing. Windows would be open. We'd just crawl in them and look at all the old stuff, and it's probably where a lot of my, like, love for old things came from. I'm an old soul, kind of. Move that out the way. Bring my last few dumplings over here. Man, they really packed those in. got B vitamins, vitamin C, caffeine, and ginseng. So, topics today were kind of all over the place, but classic me. Oh, bit of hopeful news. Might be speaking too soon, but I need y'all to cross your fingers and your toes and everything. Had a follow-up interview today. Hooray! So, keep your fingers crossed. Really, really want this. I need it. Went really well. Should be hearing something back in the next couple weeks. I'm excited. Probably won't post till after Monday. So, Monday is my birthday. I will be 32. Oh my gosh, I was about to say 23. I wish. I'm going to be 32 years old. 32. Remember the year I turned 30? I thought the world was going to end. Now, meh. The way things are going, you would think it's about to. But not yet. Oh, that was so good. Well, guys, that was super duper good. I don't remember the brand name of this udon that I had. So sorry. But the dumplings were Wei Xuan Company. It was asparagus, pork, and shrimp dumplings. They're super duper good. Like I said, I highly recommend putting them in the air fryer. Really good that way. Well, time to clean up my mess, and I will see you guys